Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Chanavallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Chanavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Chanavallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Chanavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Shri Radha Madhava ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtotar Shadashi Srimad Abhay Charnaravina Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtotar Shadathritani Goswami Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyama Kunna Radha Kunna Giri Govardhan ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dhama Mathura Dhama ki Jai. Dwarkadam Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Navadip Dham Ki Jai, ISKCON BBD Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna. Willkommen. Welcome everybody. Who here understands German? One. Aha. Good. I actually intended to speak in German. What shall we do now? Shall I be merciful or shall I be strict? Huh? You would appreciate if I speak in German, huh? In English. I guess. Okay. Then let me have a short look. Okay, then let's speak in English. Mataji, you speak German? Huh? No. Hare Krishna. Oh wow, thank you. Jai Narasimha. Okay, Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.
We have arrived from England.
Oh yeah, you arrived from England now.
Yeah, we just first we went to Belgium to Radha.
Okay.
And then to Gorakhdam.
Okay.
And now it's 1 hour before we have been arrived to Simhachalam.
Okay, welcome. First time in Simhachalam?
Yes.
Oh really? Jai. Very good. Thank you for coming. So you wanted to convince me now that I speak in English, I guess. That was the intention, huh? Yes, I see. Okay. Then we are reading from chapter number 15. Very interesting chapter. And we are at a very famous verse today, verse number 7, which is quite often quoted by Srila Prabhupada also. Just okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mamai vangsho chiva loke. Chiva Buddha Sanatana Mana Shashtan Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati Mamai Vangsho Chiva Loke Chiva Buddha Sanatana Mana Shashtan Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati Mamai Vangsho Chiva Loke Chiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Manashashtan Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. Please. Mamaevangsho Chiva Loke Chiva Puta Sanatana Manashashtani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati Mamaevangsho Chiva Loke Chiva Puta Sanatana Manashashtani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati Mama Evangsho Chiva Loke Chiva Puta Sanatana Manashashtani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. Word to word. Mama, my, Eva, certainly, Angshaha, fragmental particle, Jiva Loke, in the world of conditional life, Jiva Putaha, the conditioned living entity, Sanatanaha, eternal, Manaha, with the mind, Shashtani, the six, Indriyani. You know Indriyani? Yes, what are the indriyas? Senses. Yes, very good. Senses. Yes, loud. Senses, Haribo. Prakriti, in material nature. Sthani, situated. Karshati, is struggling hard. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. Purport. In this verse, the identity of the living entity, of the living being, is clearly given. The living entity is the fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, eternally. It is not that he assumes individuality in his conditional life and in his liberated state becomes one with the Supreme Lord. He is eternally fragmented. It is clearly said, Sanatana. According to the Vedic version, the Supreme Lord manifests and expands himself in innumerable expansions, of which the primary expansions are called Vishnu Tattva, and the secondary expansions are called the living entities. In other words, the Vishnu Tattva is the personal expansion, and the living entities are the Vishnu Tattva, are the separated expansions. The living entities are the separated expansions. By his personal expansion, he is manifested in various forms, like Lord Rama, Narasimhadev, Vishnumurti, and all the predominating deities in the Vaikuntha planets. The separated expansions, the living entities, are eternally servitors. The personal expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the individual identities of the Godhead, are always present. Similarly, the separated expansions of the Godhead are always present. Similarly, the separated expansions of living entities have their identities. As fragmental parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, the living entities also have fragmental portions of His qualities, of which independence is one. Every living entity, as an individual soul, has his personal individuality and a minute form of independence. By misuse of that independence, one becomes a conditioned soul, and by proper use of independence, he is always liberated. In either case, he is qualitatively eternal, as the Supreme Lord is. In his liberated state, he is freed from his material condition, and he is under the engagement of transcendental service unto the Lord. In his conditioned life, He is dominated by the material modes of nature, and he forgets the transcendent and loving service of the Lord. As a result, he has to struggle very hard to maintain his existence in the material world. The living entities, not only human beings and the cats and dogs, but even the greater controllers of the material world, Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and even Vishnu, are all parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. They are all eternal, not temporary manifestations. The word karashati, struggling or grappling hard, is very significant. The conditioned soul is bound up as though shackled by iron chains. He is bound up by the false ego, and the mind is the chief agent which is driving him in this material existence. When the mind is in the mode of goodness, his activities are good. When the mind is in the mode of passion, his activities are troublesome. And when the mind is in the mode of ignorance, he travels in the lower species of life. It is clear, however, in this verse that a conditioned soul is covered by the material body, with the mind and the senses, and when he is liberated, this material covering perishes. But his spiritual body manifests itself in his individual capacity. Shri Prahlad Lakshmi Singh Bhagavan Ki Jai. The following information is there in the Madhyandinayana Shruti. Sava esha pramanishta idam shariram martyam atisrichya pramabhi sampatya pramana pashyati pramana shrinoti pramanaivedam sarvam anupavati. It is stated here that when a living entity gives up this material embodiment and enters into the spiritual world, he revives his spiritual body, and in his spiritual body he can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. He can hear and speak to him face to face, and he can understand the Supreme Personality as he is. From Smriti also it is understood, Vasanti yatra purusha sarve vaikunta murtayaha. In the spiritual planets, everyone lives in bodies featured like the Supreme Personality of Godheads. As far as bodily construction is concerned, there is no difference between the part and parcel living entities and the expansions of Vishnu Murti. In other words, at liberation, the living entity gets a spiritual body by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The words Mamai Vangshaha, fragmental parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, are also very significant. The fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord is not like some material broken part. We have already understood in the second chapter that a spirit cannot be cut into pieces. This fragment is not materially conceived. It is not like matter. It is not applicable here because the Sanskrit word sanatana, eternal, is used. The fragmental portion is eternal. It is also stated in the beginning of the second chapter that in each and every individual body the fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord is present. Dehinos minyata dehe. That fragmental portion, when liberated from the bodily entanglement, revives its original spiritual body in a spiritual sky, in a spiritual planet, and enjoys association with the Supreme Lord. It is, however, understood here that a living entity, being the fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is qualitatively one with the Lord, just as the parts and parcels of gold are also gold. Once again the verse, Mamai Vangsho Jiva Loke Jiva Puta Sanatana Manashashtani Indriyani Prakritistani Karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. Homa Yajna timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stapidham Yena Putale Smayam Rupa Gadamayam Tadadi Sma Padandikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langade girim, yat kripada mahamade, Shri Gurum Dinataranam, Paramananda Madhavam, Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So we are asking for the blessings of the spiritual masters and all the Vaishnavas present so that we can hear from this verse, this famous verse of the Bhagavad Gita, in which purport Srila Prabhupada put many interesting information, and actually we see how Srila Prabhupada is going to the topmost goal of everyone's life, which is to go back to God, back to the spiritual world, which we have forgotten. There is a spiritual world, and there is a supreme person, there is God, and Prabhupada explains and describes it here actually very openly. If you go there, then you can speak with God, you can see Him face to face, you can live with Him, you can have fun with Him, we can also understand, and so on and so on. You can eat with Him. So this is the life in a spiritual world, and this is our real life, to be Krishna conscious. And now, having forgotten Krishna, we are in a different situation, and this situation is explained to us here. We are struggling very hard with the senses, because at the present moment we are not with Krishna, serving Krishna. We are in the material world serving our senses. And we are not even aware of it, that we are constantly servants. Actually, everyone is a servant, constantly. Even those who think they enjoy and they control, actually they are serving. What are they serving? They are serving their material desires of sense gratification. And the senses say, give me this, give me that, let us eat this, let us hear that, let us smell this, let us see that. And we are a servant in that relationship. And a spiritual world means we are not serving our senses for the sake of sense gratification, but we are serving the master of the senses. Who is the master of the senses? Krishna. And what name he has as the master of the senses? Christoph may know. Who is Krishna as the master of the senses? Which difficult name of Krishna we were reading last time in the Bhagavad Gita, beginning with H?
Oh, yeah,
Sounds similar, yes? Huh? Rishikesha. Difficult word. Rishikesha. Rishikesha is Krishna as the one who is the master of the senses. And he is the controlling the senses, yes. So if we choose the way not to serve our senses, but to serve the master and the controller of the senses, Rishikesha, this is the way to real happiness. That is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness, not serving, not being a slave in the material world for the sake of sense gratification, but becoming a loving servant of the Lord. And this is the challenge for us to make this decision, to voluntarily become a servant of Krishna. Because servant in the material world does not sound very inspiring. It sounds more like a duty. I have to do it in order to get something which I want to have. This is kind of understanding of serving in the material world. But the challenge we are facing is to voluntarily say, I want to serve Krishna. And then huge worlds and dimensions are opening to us. Because this is what Krishna is waiting for, that we voluntarily say yes to something which actually sounds uncomfortable. But it is not uncomfortable. It's not uncomfortable. It's actually the greatest joy, the greatest fun, the greatest bliss, the greatest love we can experience to say yes to Krishna and to the service of Krishna. That choice we have all the time, every moment, every minute, every second, every year, year by year, every lifetime we get. Now we have this choice to say yes to Krishna voluntarily, or to say no, better enjoying material world, trying to become happy like this. This choice we have. So it should be inspiring for us to become a yes man for Krishna in that regard, because it really pays off well. And here we can understand philosophically that actually there is no alternative. That's the news of this verse. Because everyone is serving constantly, there is actually no real alternative in order to become happy without Krishna. That's not a real alternative. That's what it is not. Maya or illusion. And it is explained to us here in that regard that it is said this position of the living entity, that he is always a servant. We are a servant. It is avikaryaha. Krishna says this is unchangeable. Avikaryaha. Avikarya means we are subordinate to Krishna. Krishna is Rishikesh, the controller and master of the senses, and we are meant to serve Krishna for his sense enjoyment. And then we will experience the greatest bliss and happiness as servants of Krishna. And this position is sanatana, eternal and unchangeable. It will never be something else. Like other philosophies, they may claim that we are serving Krishna, yes, and at a certain point we will find out that actually we are God. That is also there existing philosophers who present spiritual life like this, which we call Mayavadi, impersonalism. Impersonalism means ultimately we are all one, and we are all the same, and we are actually God. In that understanding. But this contradicts what Krishna explains here in the Bhagavad Gita. He says that the living entity is a fragmental part of him, he who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is avikarya, not to be changed. This cannot become something different. Otherwise, why would Krishna say here in Sanskrit, unchangeable? So therefore this philosophy that we are all one and we are God and we will all merge and we will someday realize that we are the Supreme is actually not proven to be true according to this understanding. Otherwise, why would Krishna say unchangeable, avikarya? And he is not only saying it once. Prabhupada says in the second chapter, in the beginning of the second chapter, he refers to the second chapter. He says in the second chapter, Krishna continues in a fascinating way to describe the spirit soul. What kind of qualities does the spirit soul have? That's very interesting for us. What is the soul? How great? How big is the soul? How does the soul smell? The soul has a smell. Can you see it? Can you touch it? Can you feel it? Is it hot? Is it cold? Like this, we can ask ourselves. We should ask ourselves. And in such a way, Krishna is talking about the soul. Because we cannot find out by ourselves. There is no doctor who can make an operation and find the soul within the heart and find out how big it is and if it's hot or if it's cold or whatever. It's not possible because you cannot even move the spirit soul. Also, Krishna uses this word. The soul is unmovable. What does it mean? It's unmovable. I cannot take your soul and move it. It's not possible. I can take you at your hand and move your body. And with the body, the soul moves. That is possible. But I cannot go to your soul directly and take it and move it to somewhere. This is not possible. Therefore, it's unmovable. And no one can do it. Even the best doctors cannot do it. But of course, then we might ask the question in Krishna consciousness, which we all should ask when we very new come to Krishna consciousness. The soul is there in the heart. I am there in the heart. True? You agree? Krishna says the heart, the soul is in the region of the heart. And what is the proof for this, that the soul is there in the heart? The Bhagavad Gita is not a book only of spiritual topics or of anti-material topics, or maybe sometimes even astronomical topics, like we are talking about. In the 8th chapter, Krishna describes when the yogi leaves this world in the time when the sun rises, I don't know where, in the north or in the east or whatever, we have to find it out. But he explains in an astronomical way. Then the yogi will not come back to the material world. He will go to the spiritual world. But if the yogi accidentally quits this body when the sun is moving in another direction, then he has to come back again and he has to get born again. Like this, the Bhagavad Gita is also a book of planets and astronomy. Very interesting. But not only that, the Bhagavad Gita is also a book of anatomy. Anatomy. How is this? Krishna explains the soul is sitting in the heart, and the proof for this is that we can see that all the important secrets or all the substances or all the important substances coming with the blood, they are coming from the heart. From the heart, all the blood is flowing through the body, so without the heart, no living entity can live. You might be able to live without a kidney, you might be able to, I don't know exactly or how it works. Maybe liver would also be difficult, to live without a liver, also difficult. But without a heart, impossible. Without a heart, it's impossible to live. So heart is the center, so to say. And we can understand that in the heart, the soul is situated. And this manifests itself in a gross way. We can see it, the gross body functions like this, that from the heart all important things, they are coming and are transported through the whole body. So that shows us actually there is the heart present. So we can see from the finer, subtle regions, it manifests itself on the gross platform. First, someone thinks to act in a certain way, and after thinking like that, it will become a gross activity. Similarly, the body. Everything we see in the body is actually previously manifested on a subtle platform. And we even go that far that we say, if people have strange marks on their body, like some people, they have a very, very significant muttermale. How you say muttermale? These dark brownish points that some people have, you know. I don't have so many here. Here's one. Huh? Moles. Really? Okay, moles. I have a small one here. Maybe you also have somewhere a mole, yeah? And there is one devotee, one disciple of Prabhupada, very, very big and famous devotee. A devotee who was very near to Prabhupada, and he had one of these moles, very, very obvious, he had exactly here. And when he was shaven-headed as a Hare Krishna monk, he always could see here he had this mole. And even the spiritual scientists, they go that far that they say these markings on the body, they are a sign of what happened in your previous lives. Which means that this mole here on the body could be a sign for a painful activity which happened in a previous birth. Someone put some extreme pain here on you. And because this pain is kind of stored in your subtle body, this pain is grossly manifested in this body as a marking, as a brownish, darkish mole, as you say. Huh? And it's very funny if you look like this through the world. So some people, they have really, really strange markings on their body, not from this life, but from birth, from the very beginning. Why is it? Where does it come from? It cannot be accidentally or just by chance. There must be a reason behind it. And here we can understand. The reason is in a previous life. So from the subtle region, it comes to the gross region. And similarly, the soul shows itself's presence in the heart because of how the heart is functioning. This is explained by Prabhupada in one purport in the 2nd chapter, actually. There is the heart, because the soul is there. But unmovable, we have said. What is the proof, or what shows us that that the soul is unmovable? What do you think? If I say the soul is in the heart, But at the same time, Krishna says the soul is immovable. What question comes automatically into our mind? What do you think about? I say now to you, the soul is in the heart, and Krishna says, but the soul is unmovable. What topic do you think about?
Yeah, because sometimes we say that we can do heart transplant.
Exactly. Exactly. So the soul is in the heart. Does it mean, Christopher, if I order a doctor to make a heart transplantation from your heart, from your body to another body, let's say your neighbor needs a good new heart. So no problem, Christopher is so nice. He says, please take my heart. I don't need it anymore. I give it voluntarily to you. No problem. I'm such a good person.
I will steal his body.
He will, huh?
I will steal his body.
You will steal his body. But the thing is, would that mean that when the doctor makes this heart transplantation, that he takes the soul also with the heart? Because Krishna says the soul is in the heart. What do you think?
When you die, I guess it leaves the heart.
It leaves the heart, yes. So, yeah, it leaves the heart. But you don't really die. You are living. You are living. You are in an operation room, and you're not dying. You're not dead, because he is not transplanting a dead heart. The heart must be alive also.
I don't know if it's legal. This
Difficult, huh? Difficult question, huh? Wow, how is it? If the soul is in the heart and there is a heart transplantation, does it also mean the soul goes to another body?
No.
No. Why not?
Because it's like, how can I explain? It's like, for example, you're looking some movies,
Ah,
but you cannot identify yourself with the persons in this movie. So, but the soul is just on the place where is the heart.
uh-huh. Okay.
The soul is spiritual. It doesn't have nothing with body.
Okay. Yeah, it's not grossly connected with the heart. It's in the region of the heart. Okay, it's good. Basically, it's correct, but Prabhupada made it even more simple and more clear. You know the answer. Please let us know.
No, it's not answer, but Krishna himself says that Nainam Chittam can't touch the soul. We can't burn Nainam Chittam Shastrani. We can't cut him with any kind of soul. Completely.
Yeah. And also immovable. Therefore, the point is immovable. So it's immovable. You cannot move it. The doctor cannot come and say, okay, I moved the soul from this body to another body. Cannot be done. But why can it not be done? Because it's in the heart.
Yeah. Krishna himself says in 15. That I am in everyone's situated heart.
Mm.
So he says himself, he has explained in both shlokas.
So we can also move Krishna. We make a heart surgery and we move Krishna and the individual soul from one body to another. Why not? What's the correct answer? You know, what Prabhupada, the answer was giving, Prabhupada is so nice. He gives such an interesting question. Prabhupada gives a very simple answer. He says, no, the heart is like the chair for the soul. So the chair. So you're moving the chair, but you're not moving the person who is sitting on the chair. That's the answer. So basically what you have said, the soul is not really grossly connected with the heart. If you move the heart, you don't move the soul. Therefore the soul is immovable. Even if you make a successful transplantation, even if the heart then beats in the other body successfully, it does not mean that you have moved the soul, because it's immovable. You cannot move it. And in this way, similarly, Krishna continues there in the 2nd chapter with the characteristics of the soul. He also says, Avyayam, in verse number 21. Avyayam means immutable. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? And similarly he continues with Stanuhu. Stanuhu means unchangeable, and Sanatanaha, eternally the same. Again, unchangeable, and that the soul is eternally. The soul is eternally unchangeable as a fragmental part of Krishna and as an eternal servant of Krishna. And that will never be changed. Your faith, your belief, your religion, your pope, your priest, whatever, will nothing change at the fact that you are an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. That's the meaning of it. Therefore, stanuhu, unchangeable. And again, avikaryaha, in the 25th verse, similar like we have it here in the 15th chapter, Krishna says, it is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. And in the 15th chapter here in our verse, in this regard, then Prabhupada says, in this verse, the identity of the living being is clearly given. The living entity is the fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, eternally. This is eternal. It is not that he assumes an individuality in his conditioned life and in his liberated state becomes one with the Supreme Lord. No, he is eternally fragmented. It is clearly said, sanatanaha. So in this way, when we understand just these two words, sanatanaha, eternal, and avikarya, unchangeable, we can simply defeat impersonal philosophy. Mayavadis means we are God. We have forgotten that actually we are God. Who is God? We are God. We just have forgotten it. No, cannot be. Why? Because Krishna says the soul is unchangeable, a part of God, and that he is eternally. There will never be a time when we will find out that actually we are God. That's not happening. That will not happen. It's not possible. Simply not possible. That's the basic understanding. And so deep it goes here in connection with the characteristics of the soul. Krishna continues there in this chapter with the characteristics of the soul. Yes, all in all, it's actually from verse number 20 to around 25. Krishna repeatedly uses some characteristics of the soul. The soul is for the soul knows neither birth nor death at any time. The soul has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. The soul is unborn, eternal, ever existing, primeval. It is not slain when the body is slain. It is indestructible, eternal, unborn, immutable, can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, cannot be burned by fire, cannot be moistened by water, cannot be withered by the wind. It's interesting that in that regard Prabhupada explains that our scientists nowadays, they only know fire weapons. But here we understand also that there exist water weapons and wind weapons and earth weapons and sound weapons. But these weapons, our scientists nowadays, they have not discovered them. They only know fire weapons. And these are very, how to say, superficial atomic weapons, atom bombs, nuclear weapons. In former times, great warriors on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they were fighting and they were able to shoot nuclear weapons just with sound, with mantras. They were speaking the correct mantras and they would shoot a weapon which was so powerful like what we know nowadays as a nuclear weapon. That's unknown to our scientists. But whatever weapon we may be able to create, it will never be able to destroy and kill the soul. No weapon can kill the soul. The soul is also unbreakable, it's insoluble, can't be neither burned nor dried. It is everlasting, present everywhere. Present everywhere. Just think about it. Everywhere there is the spirit soul. What does it mean? The spirit soul is here on earth. The spirit soul is down 10,000 meters in the Marianengraben. Who of you knows what is the Marianengraben? Ever heard? You heard? How many meters Mariana Ground is deep? You know it?
Yeah, probably around the 10,000.
10,000, something like that, yeah. Mariana Ground, the deepest point on the earth, is deeper than the highest point on the earth. What's the highest point on earth?
10,000, more or less.
What's, yes.
Yeah, but I don't know if they are already sure about it.
Yeah, around 10,000, they say. What's the highest point on this planet? Mount Everest, very good. Mount Everest, as part and parcel of what mountains, or how do you say? Himalayas, exactly. And all the Himalayas, they are compared in the Bhagavad Gita with all the yoga systems. Nowadays we have so many yoga systems. We have Ashtanga yoga, we have Kriya yoga, we have this yoga, we have that yoga, and so on and so on. But Bhakti yoga is compared to the Mount Everest in the Himalaya. It's the highest mountain. So, in other words, Bhakti yoga is like the goal of all kinds of yogas. In this way we can understand Krishna consciousness or Bhakti yoga, and we can nicely describe it to others who are also interested in yoga. Some say Kriya yoga, this is the topmost yoga system, activate your chakras, you become more than a human being, you can make astral journeys, so whatever, you can make a journey to the moon, just thinking of the moon, just activate your chakras, everything possible by practicing Kriya yoga, become a Kriya yogi. Wow, it sounds amazing. No, but the Vedic scriptures tell us the most amazing thing on earth, or the most amazing thing which can happen to us in life, is to develop pure love for Krishna. Everything else is completely unimportant. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga, which means developing loving devotional services to Krishna, is like the Mount Everest, and all the others, the kinds of yogas, they are compared with the whole Himalayas. So, but this is the highest place is the Mount Everest, with a little bit more than 8,000 meters, and the lowest point in the planet is like the Mariana Ground with around 10,000 meters. Just imagine, what interesting information. But we understand that the soul is everywhere. The soul is there just on the top of the Mount Everest. There are living entities, and the soul is also very down in the Mariana Ground. And there is proof for it. We can see it. The scientists, they wanted to find it out, what kind of strange things are swimming around in the Mariana Ground. You have ever looked, you have watched it? When you were young, you were a kid, you liked to watch these natural movies? When I was young, I liked to watch these animal movies, watching the animals walking around, killing other animals, tigers, leopards, gepards, crucial living entities, And they are everywhere. They are also there in the Mariana Ground, swimming around, really strange. The fish is like that big and the mouth is like that big, You have ever looked? It's so strange what is swimming around on this planet Earth. It's amazing what Krishna is able to do. As the greatest artist, you will agree when you see this, It's unimaginable. And similarly, on the highest point in the Himalaya, there are also living entities. Birds can fly so high. There are other animals living there. Even more than this, there are animals living on the sun planet, or living entities living on the sun planet with a fiery body. We only have a body, how do we say, an earth body, or do we say a water body? I don't know, because our scientists say that our body consists more than 90% out of water. They say it. When Prabhupada heard it, Prabhupada also said, this is completely nonsense. They told it to Prabhupada. Our scientists said that our body is made more than 90% out of water. And Prabhupada is making a heavy comment on it. It's Earth. We're on Earth. We're on planet Earth. We have I don't know what element we can say, but anyway, it's a gross element. And there are also other living beings. They have bodies out of all other elements. There are fire bodies, there is water bodies, there is air bodies. Every element there consists of bodies. And so the spirit soul is everywhere. This is the meaning of this. Everywhere present. On every planet there are living entities. Only because we cannot see them, it does not mean that they do not exist there. We have a body made of that particular element. And we can see certain things, and we cannot see everything which is going on in the universe, not at all. Therefore, we can also not travel there. We cannot go to the moon. We cannot live on the Mars because we don't have a suitable body. And the technique how to go to the moon and how to live on the Mars, that is actually described in the Vedic scriptures. What is the technique? It is actually the process of yoga. By practicing yoga, especially bhakti yoga also, you can elevate yourself to higher regions in the universe. If you are a bhakti yogi and you perform Krishna conscious and you don't go back to Krishna, to the spiritual world, you will at least minimum will get born again as a human being. You will not get lost in the animal kingdom. You will not degenerate yourself, but you will at least get a human being. Or if you had made more progress, you will also be elevated to the heavenly kingdoms and to enjoy material happiness like the demigods are doing. And then you come back again to the material world and continue with your spiritual journey, with your Krishna consciousness. So like this, the process to get better bodies and go to other planets and live there is not with rockets and with machines, with the help of NASA, but it's by practicing yoga. That is actually revealed to us in the Vedic scriptures. And there is a wonderful book by Srila Prabhupada which explains this in a very, very fascinating way, in a very scientific way. It's called, what is it called? You know, what's the book called by Srila Prabhupada where he explains this? One of the first books of Srila Prabhupada he ever was. Yes, thank you. Easy Journey to Other Planets. Prabhupada wrote in 1959. And it's a very small booklet, and we are still nowadays distributing it on the street. Jenseits von Raum und Zeit in German. English, Easy Journey to Other Planets. Once there was a sannyasi here, and I had the possibility to speak with him privately, and I wanted to ask him, did you ever meet VIPs when you were preaching? I like VIPs, and I'm curious if of others they met some important personalities on the street when they were preaching Krishna consciousness, like actors or musicians or politicians and all these like really famous people. You know, some devotees here in Germany, they met some very famous soccer players on the street, and they gave them a book by Prabhupada. You know, wow, Jai. And this sannyasi was here, and I asked him, did you ever meet a very important personality like a VIP? And he said he was preaching in America once for a few years, and there he got some contact into kind of restaurants or bars where like VIPs going. So he was there, and one day he met Neil Armstrong. He met Neil Armstrong, the man who was on the moon, you know, the first man on the moon. And he talked to him. And guess what book he gave to him? Easy Journey to Other Planets. That's funny, huh? That's nice. You meet Neil Armstrong, give him a book, yeah, Easy Journey to Other Planets. Jai. So that's cool. That's nice. Hopefully he read it. I don't know. But at least he accepted it and he took it. So yeah, that's the power of the soul. The soul is present everywhere. Soul can go everywhere. Soul is immovable, cannot be killed by any weapon. And eternally, the soul is a part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Spiritual Being, Krishna, and is meant for eternally serving Him. And this is our eternal occupation, to serve Krishna, to engage our senses in the service of Krishna, meaning speaking of Krishna, hearing of Krishna. This is the first engagement we are asked to follow, hearing and speaking of Krishna, Shravanam, the beginning of our Krishna consciousness, the beginning of our journey to the spiritual world, not easy journey to other planets in the material world. The beginning of our journey to the spiritual kingdom out of the material world is simply hearing of Krishna. As Prabhupada says, simply by coming to the temple and listening and hearing, you can make so quick and fast advancement. Simply hearing. So nice. Hearing about Krishna. And when we heard about Krishna, we want to tell others also, because it's amazing what is revealed to us in this philosophy. No one else ever taught us this, that the soul is able to live on the sun planet, that the soul is living on any planet in this universe. But we cannot see it, but it's a fact. In this room are more spirit souls present just in the air as we could in any time count or imagine how many are there. Spirit soul is everywhere present. And what is the most fascinating thing? the most fascinating thing is that traveling through this universe, in every space, sun planet, Venus, Jupiter, heavenly kingdoms, Mariana Karaman, Mount Everest, everywhere. At one point, very, very lucky point, after traveling through the whole universe, the spirit soul attains a body of a human being. So many living beings are here, but they have different bodies. We cannot even see them. But to have a human body is very rare. Here are just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, increasing, you see, moment by moment increasing, slowly but gradually. 12 living entities, 12 souls are sitting here in a human body. And here are maybe in this room present more than 12 zillion spirit souls, which we cannot see, but they are not so fortunate to sit in the Hare Krishna temple and hear about Krishna. They may be present here, but they're not consciously hearing. Hearing means, wow, that's amazing, it's fantastic. Can you tell me more about it? What does it mean the soul cannot be moved when the heart is transplanted? What does it mean, I want to understand. It's to be taken seriously. So we have this opportunity, and this opportunity is only given with a human body. In other words, this is the jackpot. Sitting here as a human being, listening of Krishna is like the jackpot. And not everyone takes advantage of this. Not every human being takes advantage of this. When Prabhupada was in Delhi, there was one man from Italy. And he was frustrated with material life. He was a big businessman with furniture business. He was famous, he was rich, and he had everything material you could imagine, but he was completely frustrated. And he made himself to a journey for spiritual life. He started doing yoga in the Himalayas. And there, when he practiced yoga in the Himalayas, he quitted his whole business. He met an elderly man, and the elderly man talked to him. And at a certain point, the elderly man told him, you should actually go to Vrindavan and look for Prabhupada. If you want to be happy, you have to find out Krishna, and you can only find Krishna when you go to Prabhupada. And then the man revealed himself to be a Vaishnava, a devotee. And then they did not continue with their yoga, but they went to the Ganges and continued hearing Bhagavad Gita. He was talking to him about Bhagavad Gita regularly. And then he told him, go to Vrindavan and meet Prabhupada. Shri Prabhupada Lakshmi Singh Bhagavan Ki Jai. And then this Italian man, he took his friend. His name was Eliseo, or something like that. Eliseo? It's an Italian name? Eliseo? We don't know. Anyway, Eliseo and the man, they drove to Vrindavan. And then in Vrindavan, he was just asking, where is the Krishna temple? He was just looking for Krishna. Where's the Krishna temple? Just in Vrindavan, there is everywhere a Krishna temple. He was asking, where is the Krishna temple? And then they took a tonga. Tonga is like a, horse. Exactly, you know it. Horse. It's a horse chariot. A horse cart with 2 wheels, and there is one driver. And they were driving through Vrindavan, temple to temple, and the Italian man would go out. Is here Krishna? Is Krishna? He was looking for Krishna. And then they were driving hours and hours in Vrindavan, and he was never satisfied because he couldn't find also Prabhupada. And then at a certain point, the Tonga driver, he became so frustrated, he just kicked him out with all the luggage because he thought they would pay also not, and then he would just drive away. And then they were sitting on the street with their luggage anywhere in Vrindavan in a completely foreign place, and there was a door, an iron door, and they were knocking on the door, and the man opened the door, and the man was also Italian. And he was an ISKCON devotee, and he said, okay, come in. And then he took him inside, and then he gave him a bath, a prasadam, a shower, and he told him also, you are very fortunate because very soon Prabhupada will come. So he was actually looking for Prabhupada. He heard about Prabhupada. And then they were waiting. And then Prabhupada came, and they were talking to Prabhupada. And he was talking to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was a little bit kind of looking at him like he was a little bit hesitative. He was observing what kind of person this is. And then he was asking him, did we meet before already? And then the man said, no, we did not meet, but I heard a lot about you the past time. And then Prabhupada would talk to him, do you believe in God? And the man said, yes, of course I believe in God. I said, this is very good. Most people in our society, they don't believe in God. The whole society doesn't believe in God. And therefore, there are all the problems. Not believing in God means problematic life. And then he would continue talking to him, and he would just tell him, don't be afraid, don't fear. Because he said he will go back to Italy now, and he has to take care of all his business and family and all that, and then problem will come. And Prabhupada would tell him, don't fear. Just chant Hare Krishna and read the Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna will take care of you. Everything will be fine. Just continue like this. And the man was really so happy to meet Prabhupada and get this exchange with Prabhupada, the pure devotee. And everyone who saw this Italian man, he saw that actually he is a devotee, because he reacted in that way with Prabhupada, very seriously. But Eliseo, the friend of him, he was also there. He also met Prabhupada, but he was just sitting in a corner and not at all interested in what Prabhupada was speaking. So this is actually animal life. This is animal life. Two persons from the same country, same possibility. The one person, he is eager to hear about Krishna. He hears there is a pure devotee. I have problems in life. Life is problematic. Can you please help me? I see problems coming. What shall I do? And then the pure devotee tells him, don't fear. No problem. Chant Hare Krishna and read Bhagavad Gita. Everything will be fine. Krishna will take care. That is civilized life. That is the meaning of life. And he was convinced about it. He was so happy. And then a few hours later, he was flying home to Italy with a Bhagavad Gita as it is, by Prabhupada. Before this, he was only reading Bhagavad Gita by others, and they were not really effective. He did not know about Krishna, about God, about Prabhupada, because reading these other Bhagavad Gitas. But then he got the Bhagavad Gita as it is by Prabhupada. And just this instruction, chant Hare Krishna, read the Bhagavad Gita, everything will be successful. Krishna will help you. Haribol. This is the double, triple, quadruple jackpot we can make in our life. The first jackpot we are making is that we are human beings. Jackpot, you were successful, you attained the human body, very good. And now the next job is become interested in Krishna. Become seriously interested. If someone tells you God exists, I know who he is, and even regularly he appears here on earth. But that no one ever told you, not your parents, not your teachers in school, because actually they are all rascals. And they were just cheating you and lying at you. And therefore your life is problematic. Now you have to find a solution for this. Find a guru, find a spiritual master, find a pure devotee of the Lord who explains you who is Krishna, when he was here, what he was speaking, and then your life will become successful. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad-Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Thank you. If you don't have any comments or doubts or complaints or questions, you have? Otherwise, yes, no. Does it mean yes in India or no? Oh yes, okay, I don't know. Indians sometimes, it's difficult. What is the duty of the soul after we reach Goloka? Oh, that's an interesting question. I will go there, what will happen then? What will I do then? We can answer basically what will happen there. Basically what we are doing already now. We are serving Krishna. That is the wonderful thing in Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga does not mean I do something now and at a certain stage I will see what will come and what will happen. And then it will prove to be right or not. No, we are already experiencing now that Krishna consciousness is actually working. We chant Hare Krishna, we sing in the kirtan, we take the prasadam, we hear about Krishna, we read about Krishna, and so on. And we already see now that there is a result. We experience some taste. We should actually come to that stage where we experience taste in Krishna consciousness. And this basic principle will continue in the spiritual world. But on what platform exactly, we cannot say now, because advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the disciple. So it's depending on the attitude of the follower and of the disciple, how quick advancement you make, and how many doors you will open in spiritual life. It can go very quickly. Prabhupada had a few disciples, he met them, he gave them first initiation, second initiation, sannyas initiation. Wow, yeah, that's advanced, And he even said, he is so advanced, he's more advanced than you can imagine, to his other disciples. So there are all doors to be opened by us in the spiritual world, and we can hear about a few interesting stories of people who were very advanced in spiritual life. Some people were so advanced in spiritual life that even Krishna or his most intimate devotees agreed to personally appear in front of them. They were visible in front of them, face to face. When did it happen? 25,000 years ago? 2 million years ago? Oh, I don't know. There are stories that happened just 400 years ago, when there were devotees on this planet, and they were so eager to serve and find Krishna. I must find Krishna. I have to find Krishna. I want to serve Krishna. That they were doing one activity, one service continuously without interruption for 12 years. The story of one devotee. 12 years. He was brooming the place in India, in Vrindavan, where the most holy Rasa dance took place. 12 years. And then, after 12 years, suddenly he had a dream. And in his dream, he saw how the gopis and Krishna were dancing together. And then he saw how one of the gopis lost her ankle belt. And then he woke up of the dream. And when he was awake, he found the ankle belt. Hare Krishna. This is existing. This is real. And even nowadays, there are so many secrets and so many confidential facts about Krishna that we are meant to discover. Krishna wants that actually, but we have to become qualified. We have to serve, we have to be in a service attitude. No false ego, no enjoyment, no I become Krishna conscious and then I will have a position or whatever. This is what Krishna does not want. I really want Krishna. I really want to dive into the secrets. I want the real thing. I'm not here because I want to have money. I'm not here because I want to have a position. I'm not here because I want to have a good wife. I'm not here because I want to have a good guru. I'm not here because I want to get a mantra. I'm not here because I want to become advanced in yoga or whatever, this and that, this and that, this and that. I'm not here because I want to become a Swamiji. This and that, So much false ego going on. The question is, are you here because you really want Krishna? Do you believe really in Krishna? Are you ready to give up everything for the sake of getting Krishna? Krishna is demanding a lot actually, but also he is giving a lot. We have to give up everything. He says, Sarva dharmam parityaja. You have to give up everything. But the point is that what you get is much more than you can imagine now. It's a lot more that you can dream of. It will be overwhelming. Just imagine. So for Krishna, everything is possible. And we are meant to open these doors in this lifetime, one door after another. Dive deeper into this confidential pastimes of Krishna. Have faith. Take, in other words, Krishna conscious seriously, as it is given to us and instructed into us by the spiritual masters. No compromising. No, Krishna is nice, the food is nice, but, no, not but, no but. Krishna is nice as he is. We accept it in completeness as it is. If we like it or if we don't like it. But I want Krishna. I want Krishna. Therefore we accept it as it is. No compromise. And then when Krishna sees this, then the greatest victory is, the greatest gain is that Krishna will help. Krishna will help. When Krishna sees that this guy is a little bit interested in me, he's really interested in the real thing, then also Krishna will help. And he will fan the spark, we had like tiny sparks of a huge fire, and then the spiritual master comes, he's fanning the spark, and it becomes a huge fire, That is bhakti. Bhakti is so intense. Love of God, we might think, yeah, love of God, what is love of God? The 6 Goswamis showed us what love of God means. Once there was one of the Goswamis, I don't remember his name, whether it was Rupa Goswami or Raghunath Goswami, but he was unconscious. He was in a coma. And they didn't know is he dead or is he alive? We don't know. He was unconscious. And then they put a piece of vate, cotton. They put a piece of cotton and put it in front of the nose in order to check if he is alive or if he is dead. So if the cotton is a little bit, wavering, then the breathing is coming. So they wanted to check. So they put the cotton in front of the nose, and then what happened? Anyone knows here what happened? Huh? Yeah, very, thank you. It burned. It burned. It just burst into fire. So then we should ask ourselves, what is happening with this person, What is this person experiencing, I mean, this cotton in front of his nose is burning. I mean, what consciousness is he living, What is he feeling? We cannot understand. We cannot explain. We cannot fake it. We have to decide, I want to have it also. Whatever this person has, I want to have it also. That we should have. That we should be greedy for Krishna. That it is so overwhelming, it burns everything else into ashes. It's completely unimportant. In comparison to Krishna, everything else is completely unimportant. So that is the greatest gain we can get in life. Krishna is the most important. I must find Krishna. I must find this Krishna. And then the doors will open, and then we just continue with serving. As your question, just regarding your question, what will it be then when we go there? Well, when Kadambakana Swami, he was in the last days, he also said, what is death? What is death? Death just means another service. Just the service changes. Just you're serving now, and then quitting the body means you enter into another realm of serving Krishna. No, there will be a body, but there will be a different body. And the best will be you get a spiritual body. Don't get a material body again. Of course you can. Better than now. This is gross material. The spiritual world means that everything is real. Touch is real. Scent is real. This is the real sense enjoyment in a spiritual world. It's different than we can experience now. We cannot understand now here. But that is the real thing. This is just an imitation. This is just a reflection. What we experience here is just a reflection of the real body, the real personalism in a spiritual world with Krishna. It's inconceivable how personality is going on in the spiritual world. Personality in the spiritual world is going on like that. That actually Arjuna, he is Arjuna, he's a man, he's a devotee of the Lord. But actually Prabhupada explains that Arjuna does not have a spiritual body in the spiritual world. He is a pure devotee in the material world and constantly traveling with Krishna from one planet to another. And this is his eternal life. This is his Svarupa. How can the soul do that? How can the soul be like that? We cannot understand. And also in the spiritual world, the soul can take many, how to say, you in the spiritual world you can live with Krishna in Vrindavan, and in the spiritual world you can also simultaneously live with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Mathura. So in the spiritual world there is no limits. You are one person, but you are simultaneously living with Krishna in Vrindavan, and you're simultaneously living with Ram in Ayodhya. How is this possible that the one soul can do it? At the present moment, we cannot understand, because we are in conditioned state of life. When we are liberated, when we are on that platform that you are asking now, then we can understand these things. Now we can just theoretically accept and understand. The soul is amazing, and that the way how to open these doors into this real world is actually Krishna consciousness. So that's a great adventure, huh? So,
one thing I read it.
Yes?
Can it say like this, that we are just in a dream, so when we will wake up, there are chances when the real devotee will wake up, it will wake up. Whatever we are doing here, just like it's a dream which we are in, our eyes, like when we are dead, so there will be another world, we'll be there in front of Krishna.
Yep. Prabhupada confirmed it in connection with when we escape the material world, do we remember it? And Prabhupada says, yeah, it was like a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's like a nightmare. You wake up from a nightmare and it's over anyway, but now it's the real world. So this is like material world. But the thing is, you cannot say now from your activities what you're doing in the spiritual world with Krishna. That would also be false ego and like a illusion or speculation. If you think in the spiritual world with Krishna, I'm like this and I'm like that, and I'm a musician and I'm playing the arena, you cannot say now, and it would be just speculation. It depends on your sincerity and how you make advancement. And the more progress you make, the more that will be revealed automatically. Srila Prabhupada explains in the Nectar of Instruction, how to make advancement will then be automatically revealed. So we are operating on our platform sincerely, and we should not go a step further and say, maybe in the spiritual world I'm like a gopi with a red sari. I think that I would like that. That would be cool. Maybe I am. Maybe Krishna fulfills the desire. But this is the wrong conception. We are not even thinking like this. And similarly, we should not think now that, oh my God, I could be in the spiritual world a girl. Oh my God, I cannot be a girl. I want to be a boy. How can I be? No, if I am a girl in the spiritual world, no, then I don't want to become Krishna conscious. No, thank you very much. Then I choose maybe something else. But that is the wrong direction. We are not going in this direction because this is a material concept of what is going on in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, to be a girl and a gopi or a manchari for Krishna is like the highest, topmost, is like the greatest. Wow, what could be possible? But if we think like that, we have not understood correctly. So therefore, this is actually, at the present moment, not even interesting for us. It's not really relevant for us. We should not even think like that. We should think, we have enough to do now here. We should not think what's going on there. We have enough to manage here. Let that go on, what's going on there, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. And when the time will come, then you will be invited. Then there will be an invitation, recommendation. This is how spiritual life is going on. Yeah? Someone is recommending you to Radharani, or someone is recommending you to one servant of Radharani. So recommendation. And when the time is there, then all right. But before this, not a topic. Not a topic. We don't rush in where we don't treat in where, no, what's this? Fools rush in where angels fear to treat. We should not be that fools who rush in where angels fear to treat. Hare Krishna. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Bol.
ki, Celebrity Founder Church Srila Prabhupada ki, Rama Church Srila Das Thakur ki, Guru Parampara ki, Prem Gosha Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivastari Gaura Bhaktavinda ki, Shri Radha Krishna Govinda Shyama Kundara Kundi Govardhana ki, Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dhama ki, Nadi Mayapur Dhama ki, Prabhu Jagannath Swami ki, Maya Muna Maya ki, Devi Tulasi Madani ki, Ananda Kori Vaishnavinda ki, Krishna Mahamantra ki, Willkommen, einen Sankirtananectar ki, Navashri Dhama ki. Oh, glory to the assembly. Oh, glory to the assembly. Alle Ehre zu den gemeinsamen Gottgeweiher. Hare Krishna. Oh, glory to Shri Gauranga. Oh, glory to Srila Prabhupada.
That's
So
from
this
India.
is Leela.
She's from Krishna for the last 8 years. She was 3.5, 4 years. She's still the man. She's quite form on every event. Acts and she does Bhagavad Gita classes every Sunday. The Gopal at home. She take him a bath before going to school in the morning. And then she goes there, okay, I'm making a bath, make sure you give him a prasadam and all after the rest, okay? Very silent and peaceful. No, many times. Yes. You forgot so many people come. Many times. But we brought a son for the first time. She came for the first time. We got blessed with the son. He's close to 2.5 years old. But he came here for the first time. He was wearing this Christmas t-shirt, playing the Gopal. And we also took a car last year, BMW X1, but we didn't go anywhere for the trip because we were thinking first we'll go to Simhachalam, then we'll go anywhere. Last one year we haven't made any trip with the car, just local, and today was the first trip with the new car. Sorry? We'll be staying till Thursday. Because the room was not available after Thursday. Tomorrow, and because the room is not available for the flight. I told them, please.
Because we have Balaram.
Yeah, because then we have Raksha Bandhan also on Friday. I told them it's like Purnima, and we do the Raksha Bandhan in India too. Tie a knot to the brothers. I said, it's a Friday, we can do it here, but they said, sorry, the rooms are not available. I said, okay. Still, I'm very blessed. Of course, over here, spending one moment is also precious. Yeah, she also came before. She was that time now. She's going faster. We used to go to one of the festivals because we were close by. Participates in all the events. So she make on Govardhan. She used to make Govardhan with the rice at home. It's not about winning, it's about the Shraddha and your devotion. She is the one who pushed us towards Krishna from my family. Yeah. Hey, say Hare Krishna. Hold your hands and go around. Okay, say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, we had a nice dance before.
Say
It was
same
so
here.
nice. It was so
Same.
nice. That's a very strong grip.
Yeah.
When he was holding my hand. Oh,
Okay. Because these two are both opposites. But he used to at home also, both of them. I used to tell them every evening. I used to lamp in the morning, me and my wife. I said, evening duty is yours. Daughter lamp, lights the lamp in the evening. He said, let's do Hare Krishna. We do it for 5-10 minutes, clapping. That's all the blessing of Krishna.
Yeah.
We remember. Krishna.
Krishna.
Krishna, yeah? We call And he's very naughty like Krishna. Very naughty. Always here.
You think this was the best. And then next year again.
More is all the Kripa, all the blessings.
Every time I come here,
In Amazon, about the experiences. I think Vrindavan is very normal. My mom used to go to Vrindavan. My mother used to go there with friends. But she was alone there. Many of our friends, and she also, and many people also, we know. It's totally like, when this thing happened with you, just forgot everything. One year, one moment. So, the words you express, it's really hard to say, to describe the Leela of the Bhagwan. But to interrupt what you were about to say something.
Krishna is then doing. What will Krishna do? Then he fall down. Oh, Krishna stop.
I just came to smell the flower.
Yeah, and I admire the whole lady's talent. So, and then and
Seriously.
half of the
That's true. It's a lead. Karma. It's your karma.